Hello and welcome from the First United Methodist Church in Phoenixville, Pennsylvania, where for some reason the Wi Fi is glitching a little bit today. So, if you see things are not flowing smoothly on this video, it's our fault, not yours. And be patient, it does catch up eventually with where it's supposed to be. That sort of thing really isn't supposed to be all that important when you get right down to it anyway. In fact, there are so many things that are a bigger deal that go on in the world if you keep your eyes and ears open. I mean, we've got wars. This week we had uh, part of a glacier fall off in the Himalayas with the result of hundreds, if not thousands, of deaths. Locally, we have had, not locally, but within a county, we've had police um, who ended up shooting a high school student. We have West Nile virus breaking out in the area right now. And of course, there's everything that's going on the national level. Um, and a war. We're in the middle of a war, if you hadn't noticed. And yet, in the middle of all this kind of stuff, and it is only a small bit that I've even gone into, one of the things that happened this past week that has had the most impact on people that I've gone to visit through the week, and people that I've sat down and talked to, and not just online, but actually in person, has been the death of Dolly Parton. And I'm not myself a major country music fan, but I've kind of felt it. I had once upon a time visited Dollywood and had a great time and learned to appreciate not only the amusement part of it, but I had a great time at the bird sanctuary that is attached to it, um, which is not what I had expected uh, out there in, okay, I admit I'm an Easterner, way out there in Tennessee. But when I heard that Dolly Parton had died, it really did touch me. There are people, though, that it touched even more deeply and who are genuinely upset. But things happen, right? People die. And even if it's somebody close to you, a friend, a neighbor, a family member, you do keep on going. Whenever anything happens, you really just have to keep on going. Even the big things, floods, tornadoes, hurricanes, fires, plant closings, car accidents, cancer. When things happen to the people you love, the people you care about, or to yourself, what do? You shed a tear or two. Maybe you sing a sad song. You pray about it. Then you stand up and you keep on going. The thing about Dolly Parton is she's somebody who really understood that outlook. And it's a very, very prevalent outlook in this country, not just in Tennessee, not just in Appalachia, but all over the place. Something bad happens. Dolly said, "Hey, maybe I'll dye my hair. Maybe I'll move somewhere. Maybe I'll get a car. Maybe I'll drive so far they'll all lose track. Me, I'll bounce right back. Maybe I'll sleep real late. Maybe I'll lose some weight. Maybe I'll clear my junk. Maybe I'll just get drunk on apple wine. Me, I'll be just fine and dandy. Lord, it's like a hard candy Christmas. I'm barely getting through tomorrow, but still I won't let sorrow bring me way down." I think one reason we have felt Dolly Parton's death in a way that you might not have felt for some other person, some other singer, some other whoever, is that her music has been a faithful expression of the experience of an awful lot of people, many who over the years have found ways to just keep on going in the face of adversity, in the face of poverty, in the face of difficulty, and people who have dug into things with what I'd call just sheer ornery persistence. It's something that many people admire. Excuse me, I need a cup of coffee here. See, she wrote, "While I tumble out of bed and stumble to the kitchen, pour myself a cup of ambition." Excuse me again. Yawn and stretch and try to come to life. Jump in the shower and the blood starts pumping. Out on the street, the traffic starts jumping with folks like me on the job from 9 to 5. Go ahead, sing it with me. 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Barely getting by, it's all taken and no giving. They just use your mind and they never give you credit. It's enough to drive you crazy if you let it. There's something in her music that honors the people who play by the rules, even when the deck is stacked against them. There's a deep respect in her music, in her lyrics, especially. And her music itself is beautiful. But but in the lyrics, you'll find a respect for common decency and a quiet and, in some ways, inextinguishable rebuke to those who turn themselves into self centered, heartless scoundrels at other people's expense. She wrote, like a lot of other country singers of her generation, Loretta Lynn, people like that, Patsy Cline, maybe. Um, she wrote from the experience of Appalachian coal miners and their communities. And in that, there's a strong connection across time to other people who have been in similar communities and similar situations. Maybe not even in our own day, but as you look across the years, the millennia, you can find working people who have had to deal with some of the same things that people continue to deal with. Peter was a Galilean fisherman, but I think that he and Dolly would have appreciated each other's feistiness. And I suspect that it contained some of the same human impulses that you see all over the place and that you may feel yourself sometimes. Jesus told his disciples that he was going to be up against the system that they knew very well. And he told them it was going to crush him and that he was going to end up being killed the way that many of them feared he would be, the way that they had seen happen to many people under Roman occupation. He told them he was heading straight into it. He was going to go to Jerusalem, and the powers that be were going to come down on him. And he told them that the notion some of them had, that being as they had said of him, as Peter had said of him, that he was the Messiah, the Son of the living God, that would not spare him from the machinations of an uncaring world. And their misunderstanding of that, or their not wanting to think about things that way, was a total misunderstanding or a total blanking out on what would be his total purpose that he was trying so hard to get through to them. Matthew 16 says, Jesus began to show his disciples that he must go to Jerusalem and undergo great suffering at the hands of the elders and the chief priests and the scribes, and be killed, and on the third day be raised. Before Jesus could be raised, all that other horrible stuff that would have to happen to him in the same way that they had seen it happen to all sorts of people around them. The same way that that horrible stuff still continues to happen to human beings all around the globe. To any human being across the ages, trapped in the darkness of a fallen world, a world filled with sin. And it's all around us. Peter cared about Jesus. And he wanted to spare him that. And he said so. He made it quite plain. He said, Peter took him aside and began to rebuke him, saying, God forbid it, Lord. This must never happen to you. And that's an honest response by a friend who cares about another friend and doesn't want to see anything bad happen, as maybe he had already seen it happen. But what Peter missed was that little bit at the end of it, that part about being raised on the third day. Peter was seeing things as we all see them, through the eyes of people who wish there could just be a quick fix to the world that would put things right. Instead of taking the difficult path of suffering love, the path that included forgiveness for those who are on the wrong side of things, the path that includes, above all, God's will before our own. It would be so good to just do one thing and get everything back in order somehow. And that was, in fact, one of the temptations that the devil put in front of Jesus. Right there in the Gospel of Matthew, it's talked about. How the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their glory, their splendor. and said to him, "All these I will give you if you will bow down and worship me." And Jesus said to him, "Away with you, Satan. For it's written, 'You shall worship the Lord your God and serve only him.'" The devil had offered Jesus that exact quick fix to all the troubles of the world as we see them. Take the easy way out. Adopt the ways of the world for just one or two small things, one small act. That's all it will take. For just 1 minute, 1 second, one moment, set God aside. And then the pain and the struggle of the world will all go away. Remember, it was the devil saying this. And you have to judge the devil's claim, remembering it's the devil talking. Judge it on those terms. But that was the temptation that was put in front of Jesus. And Jesus said to him, "Away with you, Satan." And then a similar moment came along when Peter said, "No, no, 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 don't let this happen. Don't go down that road." And Jesus turned and said to Peter, similar words, "Get behind me, Satan. You're a stumbling block to me, for you're setting your mind not on divine things, but on human things." And then Jesus went on to lay out that when he invites his followers and calls them into the work that he's doing, he invites them not only to see his pain, but to see the struggles of the world clearly, and then to confront them in ways that will be difficult for themselves, not easy. To confront the darkness that's deeper than the dark that you'll find in a coal mine. To confront a sadness that can be sharper than the edge of a piece of ribbon candy that's all you find in your stocking on Christmas morning. To confront the weariness of a perpetual Monday morning. Jesus invites his followers, in some ways requires his followers, to live with the awareness that the way to change the world, the way of redemption, is not the way of power. It's not to live life on our terms, but on God's terms. And to trust not our own abilities, but the ability, the willingness, the eagerness of God. The one who would see Jesus through that terrible period and then raise him up after he'd faced down death itself. Jesus told his disciples, "If any want to be my followers, let them deny themselves and take up their cross and follow me. For those who want to save their life will lose it. And those who lose their life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit them if they gain the whole world but forfeit their life? Or what will they give in return for their life? For the Son of Man is to come with his angels in the glory of the Father, and then he will repay everyone for what they have done. Truly, I tell you, there are some standing here. who will not taste death before they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. I believe that when he said that, you will see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. It doesn't necessarily mean you'll see the kingdom coming in, but you'll see that it's on the way. And you'll know. You'll get glimpses of what God is doing. You'll see the things that he does day in and day out that the world doesn't see. But we do. What makes the greatest difference, or any difference at all, is going to be living as Jesus lives. It's not going to be about getting even. It's not going to be about even getting ahead. It's not going to be about seeing everything that you plan and hope for come true. It's not always going to see everything come out right as you hope it will. But it is going to be an experience of God's love and a sharing in God's love and a discovery that accepting even at any cost is worth it. That the pain that is real, that the sorrow that is real, is nothing in comparison to God's grace. It's as if Jesus has said to us, I hope life treats you kind, and I hope that you have all you dreamed of. And I wish you joy and happiness, but above all this, I wish you love. And I will always love you. Will always love you. Even to the end of the age. Lord, thank you for Dolly. Amen.